Anytime. Anytime you're ready.
Okay. Hey, I'm really looking forward to us moving on ahead in the Gospel of John. And so we're going to be doing these, Lord willing, putting them online every Wednesday, preparing us for the next Sunday's sermon. So we're getting into a new section of the Gospel of John we're going to call Believe, and starting with John chapter 2. But let me give you just a few things to think about for the big picture of the Gospel of John. John's kind of different that he lays out the purpose for writing this Gospel at the end rather than at the beginning. Toward the end of the book, he says in John chapter 20, verses 30 and 31, Jesus did many other miraculous signs in the presence of his disciples, which are not recorded in this book. But these are written that you may believe that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God, and that by believing you may have life in his name. So at the end of the gospel, John's saying, here's the point. This is why I wrote what I did, that you can believe. And that when you believe, you can have life in the name of Jesus. So we're calling our series Believe. And really those verses can kind of lay out the Gospel of John for us in a sense too. The first habit, say chapter 1 through chapter 12, the point is that you might believe. And then from chapter 13, when he really kind of focuses and spends time with his disciples, that you may have life. Another kind of key verse in the Gospel of John, and again, look at these this week as you prepare for Sunday, John 20, verses 30 and 31, but then also John chapter 16 and verse 28. It's an interesting verse because it kind of lays out the outline of the book in 1 verse 2. It says, this is Jesus speaking, I came from the Father and entered the world. Now I am leaving the world and going back to the Father. So let's break that down this time into 4 parts. First, he said, I came from the Father. And that's what we were talking about leading up to Christmas. John chapter 1, sometimes it's called the prologue. That he was the light, and he was life, and he was the Word, and he was the Son. And he said, I came from the Father. He gave. Then the second part, Jesus said, I entered the world. That's the section we're entering into now, chapters 2 through chapter 11. He enters into his ministry, and some people believe and some people don't. Some people accept him, some people oppose him. But he entered to the world, worked miracles, taught lessons, loved people. The third section then, Jesus said, I am leaving the world. And that's the section of the Gospel of John from, say, chapter 13 through 17, when he pulls his disciples off to the side and explains to them, hey guys, I'm getting ready to go. I'm going to leave and go back to the Father. Here's what you need to do. And we'll take that section a little later, leading up to Easter. Then finally, Jesus said, I'm going back to the Father. And that'll be right around Easter time when we get to that part of the book. We think about the triumphal entry and the arrest, the crucifixion, the resurrection. So chapter 16, verse 28, read through that. And again, it kind of lays out the map for the Gospel of John. So anyway, this Sunday, we're taking off in chapter 2. So when you read through John chapter 2 in preparation for Sunday, here's some things to think about. Number 1, when he begins chapter 2, it says, on the third day. Why does he say that? The third day of what? From when? So look at that. Kind of figure out the chronology that John's laying out. Why does it say on the third day? Second thing to think about when you read through John chapter 2, you get 2 very different pictures of Jesus. First, you get a picture of him at a wedding feast where he's in the background. He's kind of undercover, and what he does, I mean, was it really necessary? It's just like an act of kindness, act of goodness to provide for a couple that's gotten married, to save them from embarrassment, and he works this miracle, kind of behind the scenes, off to the side. But then there's in chapter 2 also where he is very upfront, very confronting, very much the center of attention, and commanding. So look at those 2 different pictures of Jesus and think about, why are these here? Again, John is writing that we might believe. And what do you think about these 2 pictures? At the wedding feast and the commanding, confronting Jesus. Then one other thing, as you read through chapter 2, look for the word believe or faith, those associated words, and mark those in chapter 2. And we're going to talk about those on Sunday. All right? Hey, thanks for tuning in, and hope to see you Sunday. I'm excited about it. Hope you are too.